Meeting of the tree board to order. We will start with a call of roll. In the room, we have Tim Melhorn, City Forester.
I can take care of that, Chair.
You got it then.
I got it.
Let's
Thanks.
go, Corey. Thank you.
Chair Pearson?
No, chairs
Or, I'm sorry, Commissioner Pearson, sorry.
here.
Commissioner Giacoletto?
Here.
Commissioner Kittle?
Here.
Commissioner Segstetter?
Here.
Commissioner Bender?
Here.
Commissioner Sorella? Chair Cantola?
Here.
We have a quorum. You can go ahead.
Awesome. Then next up on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Why do you take it away?
Oh, I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next up, everyone should have received the agenda prior to the meeting. Does anyone have any amendments to make before seeking an approval, a motion for approval?
I move we accept as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, then we will run forward with this agenda that we've got in front of us. Thank you, Corey. And then the next thing is the approval of the minutes from the March 18th meeting. Did everyone have a chance to go through that? Then I would look for a motion to approve the minutes as they are written from last meeting.
I move for, go ahead.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of our last meeting as presented to us.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up is our open forum.
Chair, here's where you can ask anybody in the crowd if they would have any comments to discuss with the tree board or information that they would like to provide to the tree board that's not on the agenda.
Fantastic. Well, we have an audience member with us. Is there anything you'd like to bring before the tree board?
Oh, last time was so entertaining to come again.
Oh, man, what a great day. Well, hearing nothing, I would move that we move on from this agenda item onto our review of old business, 7A.
Just close the open forum.
I'm going to close the open forum.
Okay, Chair, I can start with this. So in the old business section, we just wanted to provide a brief update. Last commission meeting, we had a pretty in-depth discussion about Emerald Ash Borer and the current city code as written. We took the comments to the city council and received some feedback and are actively working with our legal team to make some adjustments to that. And it's primarily focused around that deadline of timeline. So the process for notifying the property owner would stay the same, where our forester would do an inspection on the property if they find that it meets any of the aspects of what our code considers a diseased tree. We would report that to the city council. If they concur with that decision, they would be notified that they do have to do removal. Right now, where we're going to move forward with is that will be extended to a 45-day term. That's the tentative plan, as we're going to propose to council. It would need to be adopted at that yet, so it's not finalized. But in that, we're also going to provide our city forester, Mr. Melhorn, the flexibility to work with the property owner in that if there is proof of intent to do the removal, if that 45 days lapses and that is not has not been removed, there's another option for an extended 45 days. Again, as long as there's proof or intention that that work would be, a tree would be abated. At that point, if it's still not done, then we would follow the code as written for, where the city would take over that removal. And again, the city staff themselves will not do the removals. We would work through a private contractor to do that, and any associated fees and related would be assessed to a property owner. for those. The council we did discuss the terms of that. That interest rate would be at the same base rate as our recent bond rating. And they would have 3 years of an assessment to reimburse the city through a special assessment roll for those expenses.
Excellent, thank you for the update.
Yeah. One additional thing that is not related to EAB is that working with our forester, Mr. Melhorn, we've received some inquiries from some residents related to dead trees that don't meet what our current code consider a nuisance. In Chapter 7 of our city code, we can address that for commercial properties or rental properties. There is a definition of what's considered a dead tree, and that is any deciduous or coniferous vegetation containing foliage on less than 50% of the tree or shrub. It's considered a dead tree, and at that point, it would require them to do removal. The way the code is now, we don't have that authority on a private residence. And again, we've received a handful of complaints that are relevant about concerns. So we will be adding additional language proposed to the city council that would use the same language that's in Chapter 7 for a dead tree, incorporate that into along with a disease tree as Chapter 22 on trees describes, and then it would fall under the same terms and conditions for removal and abatement as what we're already talking about for EAB. So really our hope with that is to, by making those minor adjustments, transferring it, similar language that's in the property maintenance Chapter 7 into this residential side, it'll give Mr. Melhorn, our forester, the ability to help address those questions and concerns and inquiries that other private residents have. It's just another tool to be able to help us address those safety concerns that one property owner might have about another.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes.
So certainly open to any feedback on any of that. I mean, a couple different things there, but that's the direction we're going. Again, nothing has been adopted by council yet. We will be looking at, right now we're shooting into August by the time we'll get that finalized and get back in front of council for approval.
Beautiful. Anyone have any comments, questions, concerns?
That sounds very reasonable to me. Thank you for the follow-up.
Yeah, I appreciate your guys' feedback on that previous one. So if there's no other business in there, I can move on to new business. If we can give some, our forester and I will kind of tag team this one a little bit. We've had, as those that were in attendance we had another successful 2025 tree giveaway event. We just got some facts here. I'll breeze through here. Out of the 200 trees, 191 of them were claimed during the day of the event. The remaining ones were replanted in other places. We did have a couple people that came Monday, asked if they could get a tree, but ultimately it was a success. 75% of the trees we estimate were claimed by 9:45 a.m., so within the first 45 minutes. Although we had steady traffic continuing until approximately 11 a.m. After 11 a.m., any resident who had not received a tree or registered for one of those could choose from any remaining available stock. It's hard to determine exactly how many of those were because there was some people coming in for both, but point is that the majority of the trees were taken. There was some questions about how the online registration and system worked well. The Google form that we reverted back to here again in 2025 ultimately worked very well for city staff. There was significantly less calls for questions and wanting to know if they were if the registration was fulfilled. And then we also did 2 forms of follow-up. So the day after the registration followed up, hey, you're registered, and then again just before the event to remind people of that there was. And arguably we did have a fair amount of people that later on decided to not take the tree, but in essence there was others, with the ending being able to allow people, once we got through those that had reserves, to come and get. I think that 191 out of 200 is still a pretty good success. So certainly some discussion for a future commission meeting and that of, is there interest in addressing those that might continually sign up, never take a tree? Is there any, concerns there? There's some opinions either way, not something we're looking for action or feedback on right now, just something to be aware of on that. The Master Gardeners were obviously present at the event, offering tree care tips and up to about 150 seedlings to anybody that wanted one. We did host it at the North Fire Station, worked really well through the drive-in, drive-out system, and then obviously with the separate event being the Eco Fair right adjacent to that at the school, worked out to be a pretty good location for us. I'm not completely confident on what 2026 will bring, but certainly should we finalize plans and stuff like that that are similar to 2025, it seems like a reasonable location to maintain there, that location. So individuals seeking to pick up a tree came in various vehicles and anything from convertibles, and one person even came on a bicycle to claim their tree. So there was a lot of different things there. So that's really where the event went in 2025. If anybody has anything to add, I know some of you were there, and any feedback you wanted to provide, or certainly we'll talk about future suggestions for 2026 here in a moment.
If I could mention the Master Gardener area, that worked out really well, to have the people come around to the side and pull off.
Good.
And I don't think we ever had waiting lines. It was just seemed to move pretty well.
Good.
Yeah, and then we did try to recommend people to go over to the Eco Fair as well. I don't know how that, the feedback on that event went, but, yeah.
Went
we
very
were-
well.
Yeah.
Very
good.
well. Positive.
Excellent.
Yes. All right, thank you.
I thought it was good. 2 thumbs up
Awesome.
when I got
I
the
mean,
rating.
considering the change of venue and well, the weather was good, but I mean, I have we ever given out 191 of the 200?
Yeah, that
I think that's by far the record. So, I think the follow-up right before is a great idea, because, people get busy about things, and so I think that really was effective.
Yeah. One thing, to add to that is we did also hand out every person as they came to drove up to the registration table for the trees to claim their trees. They were given a packet that had various information on the tree types of all different species that we were handing out, not just specific to them. Planting and, instructions, long-term tree care stuff, and we also had a map in there so they could see how to get to the Master Gardeners, and then we also had a flyer for the Eco Fair in there, so with hopes that it would be easier to see where people were, and most people took it, so hopefully it helped get them to the Master Gardeners table and to other places. So. Good information. Thanks for the feedback on that. As we look forward into 2026, there was some consideration on using, again, some different platforms for that registration, but we're at this point, we're going to maintain through the same system that we had last time, this last year with an online sign up and stuff. And really the easiest part of that aspect of that is you don't have to create your own login. There's some other platforms that are available, but every person that registers for a tree has to create their own essentially username and login, and not everybody wants to do that, right? And it causes a lot of confusion to different people that aren't familiar with that stuff, for all different age groups and things. So we'll maintain, as I said there, we're gonna, there's some consideration in, working to help connect, better connect how we know which tree they're getting through like color coding and stuff like that. Nothing more just to help streamline efficiencies and confusion as people go into there. Considering the unclaimed trees, a number of unclaimed trees, we don't know that a wait list is really of value for us, because we didn't track anything off the wait list at the time that we knew people. Once we got close to that time, if they came up and said, hey, I'm not registered, can I still get a tree? We just let them get a tree. We didn't check to see if there was. So it's just another form of tracking that we didn't utilize, and it's extra work on that. So if it's not, unless we're checking it off and we're gonna, at that point, go off a list from top down, but what does it matter? If somebody claimed a tree, they were outside that window. And then also, you know, given the influx of individuals that chose time slots, we're considering doing more defined pickup during a window, because remember, like I said a little bit earlier, the majority of people claim in the first 45 minutes, and although we had time sections spread out over the whole time, we're considering just stating if you reserved a tree or registered for one, that this is the window. You know, whether that is from 9 to 10 o'clock or 9 to 10:15, and then after that, feel free, anybody can come and get it, because again, it was it went well. I think that staff and feedback that we received, that traffic moved well through it and that stuff, but just try to tighten that up and then broaden that opportunity for others that maybe missed the registration or deadline to then come and claim a tree. So certainly something we're looking forward, or considering at 2026.
I have a question. Was there ever a backup, traffic backup on Hadley very far?
There was, I mean, I would say probably, I'm just gonna make an estimation, maybe 75 yards or so. We had, with the width of that roadway, obviously people were on the shoulder, able to utilize that, so we didn't impact other traffic flow. And then we had a city staff member that was working alongside them to ensure that they were in line for a tree, had they registered for a tree. And if they didn't register for a tree, and with the eco fair going on and stuff, there was some confusion, is that the entrance to the eco fair? You know, they weren't even there to register with the tree. So I think that helped a lot in getting people up there. But with us consolidating the traffic to the one side only access, and, you know, with the roundabout, it worked well. So if you came from, you know, the south or the east, and it's simple to go up to the roundabout, turn around and come back, and then just wait in line. But it went really, you know, really swiftly. We didn't hear any complaints.
No complaints, good.
Yeah, good
Excellent.
question. So yeah, any other feedback on that stuff for at least the tree board or the tree giveaway from anybody for 25 or 26?
I think this is one of the easiest ones I've ever done. I mean, things seem to be smooth, and as Mike said, it's, you know, it's the first time we came close to giving away every tree. That's,
Yeah, and you know, credit really, our forester, Mr. Melhorn, did a ton of work, him and the other forestry team, especially in the first few days, you know, or the days leading up to the event, prepping the trees and everything like that, getting everything in line. The Public Works admin, Caitlin Asa, and also our communications specialist, Sarah Cornell, they did the heavy lifting on the registration stuff. So couldn't have done it without them and their work to, you know, communicate with residents and stuff like that. So make sure we'll share that information with them, but give that credit to them. They really stood up so that, you know, people like me could just walk there and show up and pretend like we were, you know, helping. So
Yeah, the city staff made it
Yes.
super easy, and I hope they know that it doesn't go unnoticed. They were instrumental.
yeah, we'll appreciate that, and be certain to share that message with them.
Thank you. Yeah, 2025 was a great event. I thought it went super well. It was really fun.
Yep.
Sounds good. Well, if there's no other comments or questions on tree giveaway, we can move on. The next item that we have just to briefly talk about here is the spring planting event. That was another event that we recently had. Weather wasn't the warmest of the event, but I think it turned out well. You know, throughout the whole thing, the teams planted 7 white pines, 4 ironwood, 1 blue beech, 3 Ohio buckeye, 3 swamp white oaks, 3 zestar apple, and 2 river birch. And then additionally, forestry staff did plant additional yellow wood and hackberry in the wooded lot, you know, outside of the time of the thing. But, and then all trees of either the day or followed up after were all staked, chipped, and fenced for protection. And our forestry team will make sure that they continue to ensure that those trees that we planted remain successful and are watered and stuff throughout the growing season here. So it's a really good location to do that. Again, credit to the forestry team, and Mr. Melhorn did a lot of removal in that area last year of, correct me, how many trees do you estimate of ash that you removed out of there?
Somewhere between 100 and 110.
So it's a really good event. I know we received a lot of feedback. At the time of the removal, there was a lot of concern from residents that were driving by, what are you doing? You know, now it's wide open, and, you know, good thing as our city forester would, you know, calls it a reforestation, and that's, you know, it's nice to have the other community members be a part of that, stuff like that. So in, you know, 5-10 years, we can see the fruits of that labor. So again, good event. Next year, spring planting options, we're considering doing some work, maybe not related to a specific for tree planting, but some maintenance and cleanup of some existing native landscape areas and stuff like that. Our city forester and forestry team have a few different areas in mind that they're doing some evaluation on, in that kind of thing, but got some areas that are overrun with some different grasses and stuff, and it would be a good opportunity to use some native plugs and other things to provide some color into those grass areas and stuff like that. So nothing set in stone on that quite yet. It's just some things that we're considering, but certainly happy to take any feedback from the commission if there's ideas or suggestions, whether that's now or at our next meeting or any time like that.
Could I just make a comment about the dates? We didn't have a big representation from the Master Gardeners this year because it falls on our big annual spring plant sale. And so that's kind of a all hands on deck. And I don't know if, I know with Mother's Day, May just gets so busy, but that was one of our gaps, I know, from the Master Gardening standpoint, is it's hard to get the volunteers when they all have to be at the county fairgrounds. So that's just something to think about for timing next year. I thought it went fine with the people we had, and the staff were so helpful, and you guys who were there. I don't know that it was a problem, but in the past we have had better attendance. So just, yeah. And that's a change. Our sale used to be on Sundays always for the Master Gardeners, and now they moved it to that Saturday. So I don't think it will go back to Sunday. Heads up. Okay.
Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah.
It was another excellent event and another one where the city staff was fantastic, did a great job getting everything set up, ready to go, made it easy for the people who wanted to come help stick trees in the ground, just show up and do it.
Yeah, thanks for that. Certainly, again, credit to our forestry team and our parks team that helped set that stuff up.
Have all of them survived, or are we seeing transplant shock yet on any of them?
Yes, the Ohio Buckeye is struggling out there. Okay. So it also had been leafed out for 3 to 3.5 weeks. So I'm hoping next year it might bounce back. I'm going to wait and see. But that was the only species. The rest of them are all doing really well.
Okay.
That's all I had. Anyone else have any comments or questions about this past spring planting or any suggestions for next year?
Okay, last thing we've got under new business is just the upcoming buckthorn removal event. A reminder of that we will have another commission meeting before then, be our last one of the calendar year, but it is part of your adopted work plan. So this is, as a reminder, the second Saturday in October, which will be October 11th of 2025. From 9 to 11, it'll be back here at Walton Park, and it'll be an extension of continuation from where efforts commenced last year, just behind the Walton ball fields and stuff like that, continuing to the north, wrapping around to the east as far as we can get. Obviously, searching for any volunteers or anybody interested in helping through that event. Yeah, they can come to the city's website and contact myself or our forester, Mr. Melhorn. Be happy to provide any follow-up information or supportive information on that. But again, we'll have another meeting with this commission before that actual event, but just as a reminder that is our next organized event coming up that the tree board represents. Questions or feedback on that, I'm happy to take those.
I would just like to say that one is, I think, the most fun. You get to do the most stuff as a volunteer and arguably make the biggest difference. So.
Visually,
yeah,
it's
ecologically.
Yeah,
Stuff's a nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely, certainly. Okay, Chair, that's all I have under new business.
Fantastic. Before we move on to the other stuff on the agenda, item 8, other, does anyone have any last-minute additions to any of the new business? I think we're good to move on to the next agenda item then, Corey.
Okay, I'll start with the staff updates, and I'll pass this on to Mr. Melhorn. I want to emphasize that, I see the work that the forestry team does day to day, and I think that I want to recognize them for their work. They're a very small crew, and we get calls constantly for stuff. We get inquiries through our See-Click-Fix platform, which we're happy to receive, but they get pulled in a lot of different directions in this community, and they're always willing to help out and stuff like that. So as we talk about these events, they've been very busy doing those, and I want to let our forester, Mr. Mulhorn, just kind of give you an update on the various different things that they have on their plate right now. Obviously, with Summerfest coming up, they're really all hands on deck with a lot of that stuff. But there's just an incredible amount of different things that they're being pulled in a lot of different directions. Just want to make sure to point that out. And Tim, you can go ahead and provide some background to the stuff that you guys got going.
Yeah, the forestry staff has been very busy, probably the last 5 weeks or so, with doing landscape bed maintenance, cleanup, mulching at all the parks, especially here at Walton the last few weeks. And during time frames where I get a chance to go out, I have a lot of work orders that come onto my desk regarding tree inspections, both public and private, and a lot of EAB code enforcement. Yeah, and then we, like Corey was saying, we kind of get pulled in different directions. We'll, get a work order on my desk regarding a path, and with all the new growth that already has come in now throughout the spring, the path needs a lot of clearance pruning, and that'll take us a few days. And but yeah, we've been doing a lot of that. Haven't focused in the last year as much as I'd like to on all of our landscape beds, so now we're kind of playing a little bit of catch up with them, but we are getting them back into a nice looking shape, I would say, I guess. And yeah, we're trying to pay more attention to those and get through that here in the next month or so, and then move on.
One additional thing, aside of their work stuff, we're waiting for some feedback, but we did apply for a grant to help with some EAB removal and stuff. There were specific criteria that we had to meet with that grant on different areas. It couldn't just be anywhere in the city, but we're optimistic. Mr. Melhorn and our team did a lot of work to put a lot of stuff together on for it, but that'll significantly help addressing, our remaining EAB canopy that is in the community, that whether it's, still surviving at this point or as we're deteriorating to go with that. So we're optimistically awaiting some feedback on that. Hopefully by the next commission meeting, we'll be able to bring some good news to that. That's all I have then, Chair.
Thank you, Corey. Anybody have any questions about any of that?
I have compliments to the pruning that happened along Helmo down by 10th. Good job. They look good.
Thank you. And
Yeah,
the center median there, was it? Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
I had heard that had been mentioned in the past, and
Yeah.
I did notice them, and yes, I drove by them. I'm like, we just gotta stop and do this quick here.
Yeah, they look very nice, so good
Good.
job.
Thank you.
And as always, to add into all of that, we get weather events that cause large trees to come down in roadways, so you guys always respond fast to that, and we appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you.
Of course.
Good. Time to move on to board member updates then? Okay. Well, I would open it up to any of the board members. Anything you guys want to bring before the tree board?
I've got something.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I took I came up with a list of trees that we might be able to give away next year. And as a little background, I've been through Dutch elm disease, oak wilt, and now emerald ash borer. And these big trees in people's yards, it costs these people a lot of money to remove them, and a lot of these people get hit hard. So I'm making a suggestion that the trees we give away, and this would be for quote unquote the next generation, that we don't give away trees that get so big. So if something comes in, it won't cost so much to, to take them down. And kind of on that note, with the exception of the white pine, all the trees that we gave away this year were all, smaller trees too. So I made up a little packet, if you want to take one and pass it down.
Mike came prepared with packets.
Well, if I would have been better prepared, I would have had it on the screen. There's 8 trees that I've picked out, but I know we can only have 4. I mean, I've got my 4 ideal ones, but
There was maybe a suggestion from the mayor that we do more in 2026, or a request that we do more?
Quantity?
Quantity, yeah.
I mean, we're working through the budget cycle now, and the council's aware of that. And, if opportunity presents itself, certainly that will be, receive some consideration.
Cool. So maybe a chance to do more than just 4, depending on what council approves.
the ones that I did have got the yellow or orange X on them. That's the ones I'm recommending. And if it works, I'll just read the descriptions for you and the audience and the people online.
Yeah, sure. Happy to do that and appreciate the feedback that you're providing. Just want to just remind the commission and those that are listening, as an advisory body looking for feedback like this, we weren't going to make any decisions tonight on ensuring that one tree species or anything would be picked, but this is what you're here for, and what we appreciate is that feedback that you're providing, so
Right,
please.
because when it comes time to order, they might not even be available. So.
Yep, yeah, so, but happy to receive the feedback, so please go ahead, Commissioner
Okay.
Bennett.
The first one I'm suggesting is Apollo sugar maple. Gets 25 feet tall, 10 feet wide, likes full sun. It's narrow and columnar. Dark green foliage in the summer. In the fall, it's supposed to get a yellowish orange to red. It's a compact columnar selection of the sugar maple with symmetrical growth and dense branching. Ideal for limited spaces. Dark green foliage in the summer turns intense arrays. Let me correct it. Should turn intense arrays of brilliant orange, red, and golden yellow hues. I'll never guarantee fall color. I've learned from my mistakes. The next one is Inferno sugar maple. Height is 30 to 40 feet, 20 to 25 feet wide. Likes full sun, upright and oval, dark green in the summer, supposed to be orange, red, and yellow in the fall. It's a cold hardy selection with a fiery orange fall color. This maple prefers rich, well-drained soil and a sheltered location with an overall ascending habit. This tree is relatively low maintenance.
Emphasis on relatively.
What's that?
Emphasis on relatively.
The next one is Fire King Mussawood, which is a beech, a family of beech. Gets 25 to 30 feet high, 20 feet wide. Likes full sun and some shade. Green foliage in the summer, supposed to be reddish orange in the fall. An excellent choice for areas with restricted space and sunlight. A fast grower. Consistent orange-red fall color in full sun, adapted to a range of soils, best grown with a ring of mulch around the tree roots. Then it's the Minnesota strain of redbud, 20 to 30 feet tall, 20 to 25 feet wide, V-shaped, dark green in the summer. Foliage is bright yellow, but in the springtime, Around April is when it blooms its nice pink blossoms. A vase-shaped tree with eye-catching purplish pink flowers blooming in spring before the light green heart-shaped foliage appears. It is a spectacular fall color, a cold hardy selection grown from seed collected in Minnesota. And then it's Amur chokecherry, 20 to 30 feet tall, 25 to 30 feet wide, likes full sun. It's rounded in shape, got white flowers and small black fruit. I've never seen it fruit very much, so I would take that with a grain of salt. Beautiful golden brown to reddish bark that has glistening metallic look that peels with age. This small tree with an upright rounded form produces white flowers and small black fruit. It's a good wildlife plant. This bark or the trunk exfoliates like the river birch does, and it looks really pretty.
Beautiful tree.
Then it's chinkapin oak. It's 40 to 60 feet tall, 50 to 70 feet wide, likes full sun, open and rounded, dark green with a whitish undercast. Fall foliage is yellow to orange. It's a medium-sized oak that has open rounded crown and interesting sharp tooth foliage is a dark green above and a whitish cast on the underside. Striking yellow-orange fall foliage, adaptable to many soils. And then it's prairie stature oak, which is 30 to 40 feet tall, 25 to 30 feet wide, likes full sun. It's a pyramidal shape, emerald green foliage in the summer, reddish purple in the fall. An outstanding tree in a landscape featuring emerald green, semi-glossy, leathery foliage with reddish coloration in autumn. Dense pyramidal form that is ideal for boulevards and parks. And the last one is contender peach, 12 to 15 feet high, 15 to 18 feet wide, likes full sun. The nice thing about this, it is self-pollinating. You do not need two plants. It's got fruit on it. It's a freestone. It's a freestone peach. It has bright yellow flesh, cold hardy and tolerant to spring frost. Sweet, extra juicy fruit is an absolute delight for fresh eating, canning, baking, and freezing. Self-fruitful, contender ripens mid to late August.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that input. Some very cool selections.
Can I make a suggestion? And I'd like to know what you think, but pagoda dogwood, how would you rate that? I believe it's a native and it's a small tree.
Yeah, it's, I would call it more of a dwarf tree than a small tree.
Okay,
I think the biggest one I've ever seen is only 12 feet tall, so,
oh, I had one probably 20 feet in Lake Elmo.
okay.
Yeah, I just like the structure of it, and it's, beautiful spring flowering tree, and native to Minnesota. I had a prairie there, and I burned, and I had like 25 of
Yeah.
those beautiful dogwoods come into the burn area. It was a beautiful tree.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the deer got most of them, but whatever. I just was wondering what you think of that tree. Too small?
Well, to me, in a designed fashion, they've got a certain place for them. To me, a pagoda dogs woods just don't fit everywhere.
Okay.
They,
Still not so universal.
right.
Yeah, I like the structure, the habitat, the
Yeah.
the lateral structure of that tree. But, okay, I just wanted to throw that out there. I've always wanted to have that on our list of giveaways, but I like all these choices. And the contender peach, is that not the peach that people go to out there at Eberly Park to pick up and fight over?
Can't be giving that away.
Oh, sorry. I'm just like, is that the tree that we should have more of? What if we had,
Emails.
okay, if we had more of those trees, then people wouldn't have to fight over it, right? Getting the peaches off of there, so,
I think contender peach would be an awesome choice.
yeah. If we can get it, I think it's, and, yeah. Okay, I
Well,
won't
that
say
was-
anything more about it.
That was one of my rationales, was to get this on the table early enough so we can get the order in
order
soon
in.
enough, so.
Maybe we can get some of these. I think they're excellent choices. I've heard many of them out at the U as recommendations, Chinkapin, Pin Oak. Yeah, a bunch of these, so thanks. Exciting, can't wait till next year. Get a cool tree. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Any other board members have any updates for the tree board?
I don't have an update, but I did have a question. I played Oak Marsh Golf Course this morning. And of course, it's a city-owned course, but I think it's managed privately. And a lot of dead trees. And I was wondering, is there and it looks like there has been some removal and replacement. And is there a plan in place that, is it by the city or is it by the management there that is taking care of that?
Yeah, good question, Commissioner Giacoletto. So the administrator and I are actively working with them, trying to connect, set up a time that we can communicate with, actually meet in person with the people that are operating that course. There's some contractual agreements that outline who's responsible for what those different aspects of maintenance and repair are at that entire facility. And so the intent is to just clarify that so that we make sure, but you are correct. They had a tremendous effort this last winter. Obviously a little bit more attractive for them to be on a golf course with heavy equipment doing tree removal during that time. So, you know, in their defense, it's recognizable that they're making an effort, but it's pretty sizable, the amount to come on there. So not ready to comment on any, you know, final action or agreements or anything like that, but I can state, you know, let the commission know that the city administrator and I are actively working to connect with them while we haven't yet. We had one and scheduling just caused it to be changed, and we haven't met the second appointment yet, but we are aware and actively trying to work with them as community partners to how can we, you know, resolve the issue.
Yeah, the only reason I'm bringing it up too is it is a amenity as far as with trees and such on golf courses, and people come to, you know, courses that are good looking and they are an income generator.
Sure.
And so it's very noticeable there of what's going on, and anything I think that would, I don't know, I guess move things along to you know, get it the course improved with replacement of some of these. And some of those are fairly large that have died back. So I'm glad to hear that, you know, things are progressing with that.
Yeah, we're working alongside them to try to help come up with a solution that's good for both them and, you know, us as far as our city code and those responsibilities that are outlined in the contract for that facility.
Thank you.
Last chance for board member updates before we move on. Okay. We're ready to move on to council liaison update.
Hello, Commissioners. Carrie Moore, your City Council Liaison. I want to apologize for being late. I tried so hard to get here by 5 o'clock. But I wanted to let you know, thank you for the comments, Commissioner Bender, about big trees and giving them away. Some of you may know I'm working with a resident right now to try to find a solution for a tree removal at his house, and they are 3 very large trees. So I have dove, I think, headfirst into tree board business, which was was unexpected but exciting to work with a resident to try to find solutions. The council is, as Corey said, working on budget issues right now. Yes, there is interest, if we can, in increasing the number of trees given away. We recognize the incredible popularity of the tree giveaway. Thank you to all of you for your work on that event. It was absolutely incredible. It was so much fun to be out there and to work with you guys. I did get a tree from the Master Gardeners that day, and it is a white pine. Its name is Basil, and I have not had time to put it in the ground, so it is in a little pot until it gets planted, and it looks like it's thriving, but since I'm not an expert on the issue, I don't know that I can say that it is necessarily, but basil looks great. You guys, thank you so much for all of your work. We really appreciate it as the budget moves on. We will certainly keep you informed of what we have going on with the things that we do for you. So thank you so much. Do you have any questions for me? No? Wonderful. Thank you.
Don't worry about being late. You weren't the only one.
What's that?
Don't worry about being late. You weren't the only one.
I wasn't the only one. Okay, wonderful. Relief.
And if basil's green, it's probably still okay.
Basil is green. It has little, looking like
White
he's
pines are
growing on the
pretty
top.
Charismatic. You would know if he wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I would know?
Yeah.
Oh, no, then he's happy. He's doing great. Thank you guys so much.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Well, then we will adjourn the June 17th, 2025 Tree Board meeting.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.